Good afternoon, my YouTube friends. It's Margaret and I'm back here again in the grow room. And what have I done this afternoon? Well, we had visitors this morning and I've come into the grow room this afternoon because I wanted just to check some of these orchids that weren't doing particularly well. Now, this is a little oncidium that was given to me, and I had it in a medium that I just threw together really without giving it any thought, and it was suggested by Raquel because he'd watched Danielle's channel, and I'd also watched her channel where her oncidiums are in this kind of environment here. Like you see, the leaves are all wrinkled. It's just a rescue one that I had given me, and I've no expectations really, but I wanted to give her a fighting chance. And if I lift her up, she's just in some decorative gravel. I've got a little bit of water down there, and we'll just see. I've not completely cleaned all the roots away. I've just taken a little bit of the debris behind the back of this pseudobulb, which is just resting on the back of this little tiny vase, and we'll just see how she goes on. I mean, she's not cost anything, and she may well respond to this type of environment. There's plenty of air getting to those roots, and there's plenty of moisture. The humidity, although it's down a little bit in this room, it has been 74 this afternoon. So I'm going to put this one back over here on the shelf just for a minute, and I'll show you what else I've been doing today. I don't know whether you're like me, but you know, you have certain orchids that you look at and you keep looking at and you keep thinking, no, they're not responding. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Shall I throw it away? So this is, I think this is, let me have a look. Here we go. Coelogene fimbriata. Now, this plant doesn't know whether it's coming or going with me. I've had it in all kinds of medium, and I've even had it mounted. And then I've put it in some sphagnum moss, and then I've looked again today and I thought, no, I've got to do something about it. So this is, to all intents and purposes, is a nice leaf. The other nodes are, they're just hanging on there. Some I've had to cut off. So what I've done with this one is I've repotted her. There's some styrofoam peanuts down there, and there's some orchiata bark. That's a little piece of lava rock there, and I've managed to secure her to this pot. This is this kind of orchid does have the habit of rambling, hence that I've got another little part of the orchid here. And this is this little terracotta pot is virtually filled, 3/4 anyway, of just hydrogen balls. I've had to cut one or two of these pseudobulbs off because they're neither use nor ornament. And likewise with that one there, I've managed to secure two of these little well, I don't know what you call these little things. This is how they travel. They're like the bulbophyllums. They have this little area, and then they travel along, and then they produce another little pseudobulb, and then this is how they go. You know, if you've got a pot that's big enough, eventually it'll fill that pot and then bloom. Now, whether this one will ever bloom again, I don't know, but she's in with a fighting chance. She's in with a little bit of sphagnum moss there, a little bit of orchiata bark, and like I say, she's got hydrogen balls, and I think the main thing is to secure them in the pots. So she's now completely solid in that pot. I've got no fear of this one moving anywhere, and also that one. So I've done those two today, and like I say, sometimes you just think, well, I'm either going to throw them away, as Roger would say, under the hedge, or I'll give them one more chance. And actually this particular one, I took it down to throw it and then when I saw this little one here, this little pseudobulb with the 2 perfect leaves, I thought, I can't throw that away. It's I've got to give her another chance. So I'll put that one back on the shelf over here, and I'll bring this one up now. Bear with me if you don't mind while I bring this one up. And this is one I mentioned this morning. This is Epidendrum radicans. Now this nice little plant came from Madeira. It has had a few worrying signs of dieback for some reason. I don't know what I've done wrong. I wasn't sure about its medium, so can you see there on the cane? And it's trying to send out these new leaves. Part of that has died off, and again, if you leave them, they will probably die. So there comes to a stage where you either try and help the orchid to see what's wrong with it, or you just give up on it completely and then you just throw it away, and be blowed if I'm throwing them away. So what I've done with this one, you can see the roots, look at that. So she'd got quite a few bad roots. I'm not saying she hadn't, but I've cut them off. So otherwise she's got quite a good root system, and because I've put her in this see-through pot now with just orchiata bark, I've not put anything else with her. I'm hoping now that now the spring weather and the temperatures are rising slightly, this one will now show good signs of new root growth. There's a little, see, 2 of her roots. She'll show good signs of root growth, and I shouldn't have to worry about her now. There's a little pot over there, that little white one, and she sits in that. So I'm going to get this next one up here, and this is one of the Kinganums. I think it's a Kinganum. It's Dendrobium King Zip Red Splash. And this one I had this from Curling Orchidine last year. I managed to split this one up, and it's at this moment in time it's all about the roots and the new growths. So I've just watered her, so that's why I've just put her in that little container, although the water's dripping everywhere. Right, so we've got that new growth there. I've just watered her, and let's just take a moment to look round. These are the back bulbs here. Can you see? She's got a new growth coming there. And let me just have a look. I thought this one had got 3 new growths. Let me have a look. I think maybe this one's only got 2 new growths. Maybe it's the other one that's got 3. But her roots, she's in this medium here, orchiata bark, and she's got sphagnum moss on the top. I don't know whether you can see any of her roots, but she's got quite a good root system, and well, you can see the roots in there. The roots have hydrated, and let's have a look if this one's showing any signs of giving me any little flower spikes. As I say, this is a new dendrobium that I'm not familiar with. I'm not familiar with any of the Kinganums, so I'm not really knowing what to expect. And let me put her down there, and I'll bring the other one over here. Now this one I haven't watered today, so this is the slightly larger specimen. And if you remember, this one had some kind of spider damage at one time, and anyhow I treated her again. But let's have a look. got a new growth there. I think maybe this is the one that got a lot of new growth. She's got a new growth there. And, oh, just tucked under there. I don't know whether you'll see where my finger is. Let's move that. She's got a new little growth there. She's got a new growth there. This big one here, that's a new growth. And she got any more new growths. So this one's coming on fine. And this one's in Orchiata bark. I think she's got some styrofoam peanuts at the bottom. And I've just put this little bit of sphagnum moss here. Now let's just have a look. She has got a... Now I don't know. You see that one there? I don't know whether that's a flower coming or whether that's a keiki. And the reason I'm saying keiki is I'm going to bring this one up. There's another one, see? I'm going to bring this one up that I had from M.E.s Orchids. So I'm going to put that back on the shelf behind me now. And let's bring this big one. And look at that. See, I thought that was a flower growth. But look, it's got roots. So that's not a flower growth. That is a keiki. But if we look down there, that's a new growth, because they come out like a deep purple colour. And look at the roots. It's got some lovely roots. And so I don't know at what point this one will flower, because I felt sure that was going to be a flower, and it isn't. Of course, she's put a lot of new growth on. Maybe that's how they. Let me just try and manoeuvre around. Maybe that's where the flowers come from. And if they come on the side, maybe they can become keikis. I've no idea. We just have to wait and see, and all will be revealed, no doubt. You can still see she's got some roots that are hydrated. This is the one at a tilt. She's in this, got this reservoir of water at the bottom, and that's another. Whoops, that's another. That's a new growth there. That's another new growth there. This is a new growth, and we'll just have to be patient and hope that she might flower for me. So we'll put her down, and this is Kingianum Ellen, but she's doing well. She's getting quite heavy in this pot actually. So that's that one, and if I bring this one up now. Now this is my, let's just show you, Phalaenopsis Finleyi by Phalaenopsis Stewartiana. Now we remember this one last year. I've actually had this one flower for me. I've not rebloomed her, to tell you the truth, that's, but she came as a flowering specimen, and she had the most gorgeous little flowers, and I've explained to you that just have to watch that little root. I'm always frightened of damaging the roots. And after she'd finished flowering, she promptly dropped a leaf. And I thought, oh my goodness. And I don't think you're going to see there because I can't zoom in. I'm really down as far as I can go. I don't know whether you'll be able to see that without it starting to blur. You might just see something there. And that now looks as though it's showing signs of giving me a new leaf. Hallelujah, that's what I say, because I've worried about this orchid for months and months and months, and of course she's got new roots on, and this one she produced and then it went dormant in the winter. This one she produced and that went dormant, and so at the moment she's got 2 growing roots, and to all intents and purposes she wants watering, but she won't get watered till probably Friday or Saturday, because she is a species. I know you're supposed to keep them slightly more moist, but you know, there's moist and there's drowning them, so I'd rather keep her on the drier side than drown her. So if I put that one down here now, and then I'm just going to pick a couple more up just to show you. This one is part of the BLC 24 karat gold, and so that one's here. Let me bring her over. Here we go. And if you remember, this one was one of the ones that suffered with scale. You'll see that the leaves are still slightly dehydrated. That one's fine, and that one's fine. That one must be an older one. And if we turn around here, let me just have a look if she's got any new eyes. I mean, the poor things, they did suffer last year with scale, and they've had to have some harsh treatment. But the roots are fine. I'm just wanting to see if we've got any new eyes that, you know, could develop. If there is going to be one, it'll be from that area around there somewhere. She's got a little bit of a swelling there. See that eye there? That was infested with scale, so I don't think that eye is going to do anything. And like all Cattleyas, at that time I wanted to check her anyway in case it had got fusarium, and so what I did is this part here. Maybe you'll see that little mark, that area there. So this part came from that part there, and so this one I've just had in a container. Periodically I might just spritz her with some water. Let me put this one back. Bear with me. And let's have a look at this one now. And the only possibility is that little area there where my thumb is. I'm not sure whether that's capable of an eye. There's certainly no signs anywhere else of an eye developing, but I didn't want to throw it away because it's certainly not completely dehydrated, even though I don't do anything with it. And so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for that one. And I've got another one here, exactly the same, and I'm not sure which one this one is from because I can't remember. I didn't put a label in this one, and I'm not even sure whether this one's capable of producing an eye. It's just absolutely amazing that they can produce this big leaf. This might even be pastoral innocence. It might even be a cutting off that. But there's 2 fairly decent pseudobulbs, and they've not dehydrated at all, but I don't know whether or not it's capable of producing an eye, which would then give me some roots. So I'll just keep it a little while longer. There's the telltale signs of scale, and on that leaf as well. So I'm going to put this one down now and just bring this last little plant here. And the reason I'm just bringing this one here is I want to just show you this. You remember when I said this one had come from a mother plant and they were all cakeys and I split them off, and they've been able to give me flowers this winter. And I put the mother plant, kept her in coconut husk, and I think that's, I don't think some of them like that. The epidendrum there, that was in coconut husk. Anyway, I was looking at it today to replant it, and look at that. That tiny, that's it. It's a little growth with two tiny, the most tiniest roots you could imagine. So what I'm going to do with that one is just tuck her under there. Can you see where I've tucked her? And she's got a little bit of lava rock, and hopefully that one might survive. Keeping my fingers crossed. Now let's just pick this one here. I'll just give you a general update. Do you remember this little tiny thing that I'd actually got the name wrong? This is a species one. And she's just in a little bit of lava rock here. And some sphagnum moss, some pea shingle. And look at that there. Now that is this little tiny pseudobulb here. The one with the dead leaf there. That's the one that I said I got the minutest little root you could imagine. But look at that, it's sending out a new growth, or well, I think it's a new growth. I know it can't be a flower, for goodness sake. No, it'll be a new leaf or a new growth. And this is very slow growing. So what's this called? Gomza recurva. And I shall just have to be very patient with this one, because it's been near the brink, and hopefully now she might be on the road to recovery. But you can see the size of my finger to see what size she is. The tiniest little thing. And let me just pull this one up here. This is the bane of my life at the moment. And will I ever get it right? Let's have a look. And this is Dendrobium Lodogesi. I look at Todd's, of Todd's Tropicals, and his is blooming. There are several other who've got blooming little Lodogesis, and look at that. Oh, what have we just seen there? Let me just turn around. Look at that. Ah, she's producing a little cakey. But that's how they actually grow. Sorry about that. That's how they actually grow. They grow these little cakeys, and that's the wandering effect. So if she's capable of doing that, then maybe I've saved her. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that, you know, there's a possibility that I've actually saved her. So if you just bear with me a minute, I just want to bring a couple more across, because while I'm giving you a general update, bear with me a minute. Put that one down there. There's just, you remember this one? And this is all that I've got left from the Dendrobium Violet Fizz Luna. But again, it's showing me signs of new growth. Again, look how big, that's my finger. And she's in the tiniest little pot with just some lava rock, and it looks as though she's got a couple of hydrogen balls there. So she's coming on a treat. Sometimes I forget that they're actually here because they're so small and they sit on the shelf, and then I suddenly remember them and I think, oh my goodness, I've not watered her for about 2 or 3 days. So, and this is the other one. That's this is my tropical pointer, and can you see there? Look at that. Ooh. Nearly dropped her, and she really went through the mill, but she's on the road to recovery now. She sits in this little crystal vase here, and that's one of the dead leaves. So she's doing really well, this one is, and I've just got one more to show you. And then this is one I liberated from my sister-in-law, and I don't know how hers is going on, but this is Dendrobium berryoda, and look at that. So she doesn't get watered all that often, but she's in the tiniest little pot in this little vase here. Well, actually it's not a vase, it's a glass, but she's doing really well. And I think that's about all at the moment I've got to talk about with what should be happening with your orchids. We should be getting signs of new roots and new growths, and if we get those signs, then we know that they're doing fine, and they're well into the growing mode. So thank you for joining me again, and enjoy your orchids. Take care. Bye now. Bye bye now.